it's kind of dark in here. But when it's dark and gloomy, that's the perfect time to read. That's called a segue. Kim here, wondering how many times I can wear this shirt in a booktube video before it gets weird. If this is your first time here, welcome to me and my books. Consider subscribing for some bookish videos along with motivational stuff, or if you just need a breath of fresh air, here I am. I am here with my reading wrap-up / TBR / sorry, it's been a while since I've done a wrap-up TBR haul video. Reading has been really weird lately because I'm super actively writing the upcoming fiction podcast. Self-promo for the win. We're just gonna do a recent wrap-up and future-ish TBR. You get it. Yeah. On to the books. We're gonna start with what I have read recently. And the first one is The Library of Souls. I don't remember if I have wrapped this up or not, and we're gonna wrap it up now. If I have talked about this book, it just deserves to be talked about again, obviously. This is The Library of Souls by Richard Denny. This is the second book of his that I've read. Loved them both. He's a great storyteller. This is a middle grade horror novel. It's about Simon, who's a ghost talker, and him and his uncle get this job in a library that is just so much bigger than they intended and therefore problematic. Very adventurous, very mysterious, fun, middle grade, mystery and horror and ghosts. It's a little bit scary, but also a bit amazing. Sometimes words are hard. This is the point in the video where I tell you that I hate reviewing books with stars. I will direct you to the video in which I talk about how I review books without using stars, because stars are... The Library of Souls by Richard Denny. Please check this out. I really liked it. I really liked it. Like, a lot liked it. I loved it. It was great. Just ghosts and a library and kids and middle grade. It just is awesome. And then I read The Year I Dated the Internet by Stacey Lynn Carroll. This is a romance. This is a clean romance, so if you prefer that, I would definitely recommend it. But this is a romance, and I do not typically read romance. However, this book so seriously kept my attention in no way that I expected it to. Like, I really expected to just read it and be fine with it, but I actually found myself very much rooting for specific guys that this girl is dating and hoping she ends up with the guy I wanted her to end up with. It's pretty cool. More than a little bit cool. Like, this was awesome. That was a really neat thing that happened. It's like Tinkerbell sitting on my head. It is the wrong time of day to be doing this video. We're gonna push on. This is a story about Chelsea, who decides she is ready to get married. She is just done. She is just ready to be married, and she just wants to be married, and she's just gonna make it happen. She starts online dating, and she goes out with all of these guys, and then she kind of gets it narrowed down to the guys that she likes, and then she's dating all these guys, and it's like, but who's she gonna pick? Which one is it gonna be? Who's the dude? Who's the dude Chelsea is in love with? And you don't know, and then at the end you get to choose, and it's amazing. It's a little bit of a choose your own adventure, but it's a choose your own romance. It's so cool. Very fun, very unique, just lighthearted, wonderful romance. Just like, it's like a little chick flick movie that you just need in your life when you need something that's wholehearted and chipper and great. This has been glaring the whole time. I was really invested in Chelsea and who she chose, and that's usually my problem with romance, is I just don't care about the characters at all. But all of these characters had depth and flaws, and they were realistic, and they were wonderfully well-rounded, and I liked it. I liked it. The Year I Dated the Internet by Stacey Lynn Carroll. Do check it out. And then I read Convergent Lines by Michelle Corey, the first book in the Kind Mosaic. Okay, so this book did things to me, ripped my heart out, but not in like a sad, tragic ending kind of way, and like it was just so good I didn't want it to end at all kind of way. I loved it. I loved the magic system in the book. I loved the way the magic world reacts with the human world, in that it doesn't, but that's what I liked about it. I loved the whole like ancient, traditional sort of magic things that were in here. I loved the characters that were in here. I loved the story that was in here. I loved this book. I loved this book. This is the story of Gray, who is dealing with being a very, very magical guy in a very magical world, but he's even magicaler than everyone. And he is just dealing with the things and the traditions that are a part of their world, that are part of their culture, that have been and are not changing anytime soon. And it's got a love story in it that just, cool magic and cool characters and just cool family dynamics and just everything. It deals with arranged marriages and it deals with the politics and the business of running a society. It just was really cool. I just feel like this book was specifically written for me. I'm the perfect reader for this book. I just adore it so much, and I'm so glad I took a chance on this. It wasn't even really that big of a risk, honestly, because I spoke with the author when I bought this book, and when she was explaining things to me, I was like, I have to read this book, and I have to read this book now because I know that this is something that I am going to fall in love with. And not only did I fall in love with it, I just became completely obsessed and infatuated with it. I have a very unhealthy relationship with this book. It is consuming me, and the second book is not out yet. Thus, my soul is dying. Convergent Lines by Michelle Corey, the first book in the Kind mosaic. Oh, so good. The last book that I have read recently is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. This was my designated Halloween read. Halloween is come and gone, but this was what I read during the season, during the spooky Halloween time season, and it was perfect. It was so perfect. I am still not 100% sure if this is middle grade or a grown-up book because the protagonist is a kid, but I'm not entirely sure if I would categorize it as middle grade. Regardless, though, I absolutely fell in love with it. I thought it was such a cool book. This is about a boy named Bod, which is short for nobody, and he, a human boy, was raised in a graveyard by ghosts, obviously. Okay, so this was written by Neil Gaiman, which means it is going to be a little dark and twisted, but also kind of charming and wonderful and just a beautiful, beautiful story. It was all of those things. It was so imaginative and such an original, unique story, but also kind of dark, but not like disturbing. Okay, there wasn't really anything that disturbing about it. And there were some scary bits, and there were some exciting adventurous bits, and there were some really like heartfelt, make you think bits. And it just is full of so many wonderful bits that it's just a beautiful book. It was a beautiful book. I loved it. This was good. This was really good. It's another, just like everything else that I've read recently. I cannot recommend it enough. Oh my gosh, I loved it. Really loved it, actually, a lot. These books are just destroying me with how good they are. That's everything that I have read recently, and I kind of want to get into really quickly the things that I plan to read in the future. The Merchant of Death, book 1 in the Pendragon series by this person. Who is it? DJ McHale. This is a middle grade novel, science fiction-y sort of book. I think there's a little bit of maybe space travel-ish. Alternate dimension. There's other dimensions. It's like a sciencey, magical-y thing. I don't know. I like to read books blind, so I don't really know. I just know that it's middle grade and it looks good, and I bought this copy used and the spine is pretty bent on it, so whoever read this really liked it, probably. I'm gonna read it and see if I like it. And then Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. This is also the first book in a middle grade series. This one's magical. It's got a magical book. Hi, books are awesome. I'm gonna love that. I'm very excited. I've heard really good things about it. I want to see what's going on in this. I want to see if this is really as good as people are saying. Probably is. With middle grade stuff, I found that people are usually right when they say this is great, except for Percy Jackson. I'm just excited to kind of see what's going on here with magic and magic books and magic. And then I want to get to Artemis Fowl and the Arctic Incident. I finally found the second Artemis Fowl book. I have been hunting for it for a good long while. This is a really pretty hardcover version too, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm kind of bummed that the version of book 1 I have is the paperback because this is a really nice, it's good looking, you know what I mean? So I really like Artemis Fowl. This is a story about a boy genius who is trying to kind of regain his family's reputation and fortune by meddling in the magic world. And of course, hijinks and shenanigans ensue. I like to describe Artemis as the ultimate Slytherin, like he just is. I really loved the first book. It was so funny and exciting and just a really cool story. So I'm excited to kind of see what the rest of the series is gonna do. So Artemis Fowl and the Arctic Incident. Lastly, I want to get to Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This book is so freaking huge. I have read Persuasion and Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and I loved both of them. Persuasion a little more, I think, probably. But I'm really excited to read Northanger Abbey. I've heard it's a little bit funny. I've heard it's unique, and I've heard it's a little bit different than her other stuff. I do not know what it's about. I can guess it's about a strong-willed and strong of character woman, because Jane Austen. Northanger Abbey was on my list of books to read this year, and of those 5 books, I don't think I've even read one. Nope, not even one. Hopefully I can get to Northanger Abbey at least by the end of the year, because if not, that's a major fail. Except not really, because I've read 40 books this year, so okay. I'm just kind of been in the mood for some classics. I think next year I'm gonna read a lot more classics, but I just really want to read Northanger Abbey. I just really want to read it. I just want to read it. Those are the books. That's what I've read. That's what I want to read. You've just seen my future, hopefully. Feel free to share this video with your bookish people. Clickety-click the share button down there and send it off to your preferred social media. And consider subscribing to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. There are books, there are thoughts and feelings, there is me. Thanks for watching.